Hi guys, welcome back to In Case of Econ Struggles. Today what I want to do is I want to talk about how microeconomics and macroeconomics are connected. In order to do that, I'm going to talk about the economic impacts of a weather event. Specifically, I'm going to talk about a snowstorm and the economic impacts of a snowstorm, both using microeconomic tools and macroeconomic tools. So what I'm going to do at the end of this video is answer the ultimate question of whether or not something like a snowstorm can cause a recession in the economy and how exactly it plays out using both micro models and macro models. And what I want to start with is to say that what a snowstorm is, or any weather event, in this context is just a microeconomic problem with macroeconomic implications when we add up the microeconomic impacts on each individual person living within an economy. Now, of course, since we're going to be using both micro and macro models to answer this question, we need to exactly spell out what exactly we mean by a snowstorm, what assumptions we're making, and sort of how we're going to model an impact on the economy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to model the snowstorm as just a major snowstorm hitting a city. I'm going to assume that roads are closed, workers are going to stay home, deliveries are going to be delayed. When I say workers stay home, I'm going to assume that remote work is not possible. So a worker has to be able to travel to the firm in order to work. They can't work from home even during a snow day. And of course, the other thing I'm going to assume is that a snowstorm is a temporary weather-based event, which means the only thing that's changing is the weather. So I'm going to assume that people's preferences, technology firms use to produce things, institutions like government institutions and banks and other things like that don't change. The only thing that's changing is the weather. Now, of course, with a snowstorm or other weather event, you can use a lot of different models to try and sort of estimate what the impact is on an economy. In this specific video, I'm going to use 3 different micro models and 2 macro models to ultimately answer the question whether or not a snowstorm or any weather event can actually cause a recession. So first we'll dive into the micro models. We'll talk about the supply and demand model, sort of using the grocery market. We'll talk about the labor leisure choice model. We'll talk about profit maximization in terms of firm output. And then once we know the microeconomic impacts of the snowstorm, we're going to move on to some macro models. Specifically, I'm going to use the expenditure approach to measuring GDP to talk about the impact of a snowstorm. And then I'll move on and use the aggregate demand, aggregate supply model. And then finally, we'll have our answer of whether or not a snowstorm causes a recession or not. If you think you know the answer, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to see if you were correct or not. So let's go ahead and start with our micro model, specifically our grocery market using the supply and demand framework. So what we're going to say is we have this grocery market with a supply and demand curve. Of course, before the storm, we're in equilibrium where we have some quantity and some price. We're trying to ask what is the impact of the snowstorm on equilibrium price and quantity. Of course, the impact that we're worried about is the fact that we have fewer deliveries. Notice that we're not going to talk about increased demand for goods because we're assuming sort of that most of the demand for those groceries happened before the storm hit. People tend to stock up on things before the storm. During the storm and after the storm, most people are sort of hungered in their homes. So we're assuming that demand hasn't really gone up relative to before. But of course, supply, if we have fewer deliveries, supply is going to go down. So maybe I'll draw that in purple. So that's going to be like a leftward shift of the supply curve. And so it's going to look something like that, which means that our new equilibrium price and quantity is where our new supply meets our old demand curve. So we have a lower quantity shifts to the left, and we have a higher price because this price is higher than before. So our impacts of the snowstorm using this model are to say that price has gone up and quantity has gone down. Maybe for completeness, I'll specify that this is QA or quantity after, and this is PA or price after. For the second impact of the snowstorm, we're going to talk about the labor leisure choice model. I'll show you a simpler model in a second for those of you who haven't quite gotten to the labor leisure choice model. But even if you haven't, stay with me because I think this is pretty intuitive. What we're going to say is we're going to say that now because of the snowstorm, commuting is more expensive, right? If you want to go to work, you're going to have to go outside, you're going to have to clean off your car, you're going to have to potentially shovel your driveway. It might be more dangerous or more intense for you to try and drive to work, which means that if they're not going to pay you any more to come to work, and that's what we're going to assume in this model, that really your effective wage has gone down. So now you're earning less by going to work. We've also said that grocery prices have gone up, which means consumption is more expensive. So if I'm on this diagram with consumption and leisure, then what's happened is now, so if consumption is more expensive, now maybe this is the amount of consumption I can buy if I work full time. And since my wage is less, then basically what's going to happen is my budget constraint is going to be flatter. And so now I'm going to come sort of like this. And just to make it easier, I'm going to sort of assume that this is where it's tangent, which means that now after the snowstorm, I'm going to want to do more leisure, which means that my amount of hours worked is going to go down because my wage has also gone down. So in the simpler model, maybe we just have wage and hours worked. And what you can see is that after the snowstorm, if the wage has gone down, then now my wage after the snowstorm is lower than my wage before the snowstorm, which means that now I want to supply, the amount of hours I want to work, is just less than the amount of hours that I did before, and so my wage hours have gone down. Our final micro implication of the snowstorm is going to be on production. So now we know that fewer workers are going to show up to work because of higher grocery prices, because of lower effective wage, which means that now firms are just going to be able to produce less. So if we have a little isoquant with labor and capital, then before we could be on this pink isoquant, which is Q before, and now we're going to be on a lower isoquant QA because we just have fewer workers. And if our production function depends on both workers and capital, then now we can produce less. So here's just a quick summary table showing our micro impacts both on the grocery market with a higher price and lower quantity, on our labor market where we now have fewer workers or people are working fewer hours, and profit maximization, we're making less stuff. Our quantity has gone down. So now we're going to move on to microeconomic impacts. The other assumptions that we're going to make for this model in order to have a macro implication sort of model is we're going to assume that all consumers and firms are identical, and we're going to assume that the city or the government is going to spend some extra money on snow removal and things like that in order to help out. So like I said before, we're talking about how micro choices sort of map on to macroeconomic impacts. Well, again, we said fewer workers mean fewer output. Okay, well, fewer output means GDP is going down. We also know that if the price of groceries are going up and the quantity is going down, then generally for most people, if we think about welfare, their welfare is going down. Of course, the city is spending extra money to remove snow. And if the city is paying extra money, that's government spending, so GDP is going up. So it's not clear which one wins. Is GDP going up or down? And an important point here is that GDP does not equal welfare, right? GDP could be staying exactly the same, but if people are facing higher prices, then you might say that their welfare has gone down, their consumer surplus has probably gone down, they're getting a lower wage for work, then we would also probably say their welfare is going down, again, even if GDP hasn't changed at all. So that's sort of using the expenditure approach to calculate this impact on GDP, which we said was ambiguous. How else can we see that ambiguous impact? Well, we can use the aggregate demand, aggregate supply model. Okay, so aggregate demand, aggregate supply. I've got my long run average supply curve. I've got my short run aggregate supply curve, and I've got my short run aggregate demand curve. The long run aggregate supply curve is not going to change at all because we said that there were no changes in technology preferences or anything like that, no structural changes. So our potential output is still the same. For short run aggregate demand, government spending went up because we're paying for the snowstorm. So short run aggregate demand curve is going to shift out in a parallel fashion like that. Our short run aggregate supply curve is going to go down or shift left because we have less production. So it's going to do something like this. Okay, so in the way I've drawn it here is actually our GDP went up instead of Q. You can think of this as Y. So our GDP actually went up a little bit the way I've drawn it. If I would have shifted the supply curve to the left by more than the demand curve shifted, then Y would go down. If it's exactly equal, GDP doesn't change. And if it shifts by less than the aggregate demand curve shifted, then our Y goes up. We're seeing sort of this ambiguous impact of GDP based on how these two things change. So just to wrap up, a snowstorm does not actually cause a recession. Okay, it's a temporary shock. Our potential output, our long run aggregate supply curve is unchanged. There are no permanent shifts in demand or supply. And the key takeaway is that a snowstorm or other weather event is an economic shock. It's just not a permanent one, right? You can think about after the snowstorm, deliveries resume, the supply and demand in the grocery market returns to equilibrium, people return to work in an ordinary fashion, but the wage was unchanged, so people go back to sort of getting their own wage or their normal wage. Sort of the economy goes back to normal. It's not anything permanent or anything like that. If this video or these videos in general are helping you out, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time for another case of econ struggles.